Hey, this is Jen from Noting Grace, where I inspire you to renew, create, and decorate your home. Today we are talking about our music room. Okay, so music room, theater room, audio room,
recording studio,
which that's basically what it has been in our lives. Gosh, how long have we had a recording studio?
20 some odd years.
Yeah. So everywhere that we've lived, we have had some space because Trent and I, by trade, are musicians, and we've always needed to carve out a space for us to do our recording. I grew up, my mama was a session singer, so I remember being a little girl and sitting in the recording studios with headphones on and listening to her record jingles, and then in the car with my mom, and suddenly she's singing on the radio. So it was a super cool thing growing up, and being able to continue that in our own marriage has been a really fun adventure. In this home, this room was what, probably a rec room?
Yeah.
And they had a built-in where you could put one of the big
tube televisions.
Yeah, and there were lots of shelves and
for VHS tapes. For all your VHS needs. Hey, we didn't talk about my parents' musical background.
Okay, let's share about your parents.
They weren't musical at all.
Okay, there you go.
There we go.
Well, we recently felt like we needed to work on this space because our youngest boy is attending the same fine arts high school that you went to, pursuing the same thing, percussion. So that means I live in a house with not one drummer, but two drummers.
Life is good.
There is a lot of noise, and he is required to practice quite a bit. There's a lot of music happening in our home all the time, and the ceiling in this room was a drop ceiling, so all of that noise was going upstairs. And what is the room that is directly above this?
It'd be where we sleep.
Yeah. Granted, no one's playing drums, you know, while we are sleeping, but if I wanted to ever take a break or rest, there would most likely be music happening in the background.
And if not drums, it would be speakers. If you listen to the kind of music our child listens to, it's quite bass heavy. So that also, and that's really what transfers the most noise.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of being bass heavy, the theater rooms. So all of the movies that are sound engineered these days are very bass heavy, and you feel that rumble anytime that you've been in a theater. That is another thing that also travels up. What our goal is for this room is to find economical ways to deaden the sound, and we thought that you all would be able to benefit from that as well for whatever application that this might apply to you all.
The only real way to stop sound from traveling from one room to another is to build a room within a room. Most people can't do that. You think of a 2x4 stud attached to the floor and going straight up. This is a downstairs room, so it's going up, and then it's attached, whoever built this room attached it straight to the floor joists above. Mm-hmm. Well, that's like a giant vibrating piece of wood. The second it shakes all the way up and then shakes the floor joist. Therefore, you have noise upstairs or in the adjacent rooms. So unless you can isolate the room and you build a box inside of a box, you really can't. You can only do so much. We have the capability. We could have built a room inside of a room, but you know, everything that we do, we try to do it economically, and not just for us, but also to share that with you all. We've got some plans. We have made some sound panels that we are going to put on the wall that will help absorb the sound waves. Within the room. Within the room. And then we've also built these really fun wooden sound wall diffusers. There is a science to it, so if you're looking at this and you're one of the ones that does all of the wonderful math. Yes, there are folks who get super nerdy about it, and it is real. It's not fake, but it costs a lot of money to do that. And, you know, like we said, you know, we've been doing rooms like this for a couple of decades. On the cheap, and I haven't really noticed any difference. I mean, we
well, I'm mathematically challenged. So we just wanted it to look really cool, but it's still, even if it is not perfectly scientifically done, it still will absorb some sound while also looking cool. So since the sound is traveling upward, we took down the drop ceiling momentarily and installed 2 layers of insulation. What is that called?
It's Rockwool, and it's a brand that specifically titled Safe and Sound, but Rockwool is generally the name that everyone uses for it. And it's a very dense material, and I believe it is made out of some kind of rock somehow. Yeah, rock, that's why we used it. But it has no insulation properties like the pink stuff, the stuff we're kind of used to putting in the walls or in the floor joists. But it is rated for fire prevention as well as sound deadening qualities. So it's not to insulate anything, it's just to absorb sound. And I guess if some fire started, it would slow the fire spread.
So when we first moved in, there was a pass-through that was open to, just our family room. It's our basement where we hang out, but we wanted to create a separate space. We enclosed that wall, and that was our first step. So we wanted to be able to shut that off, so we installed an exterior door, a full light panel, so that way light can still come in. And we lived with the ugly carpet and the cumbersome built-ins for as long as we possibly could. But it got to be a point where we definitely recognized we needed to isolate specifically the drums and then also create a little bit more space. We ripped out those built-ins and installed a second door. Both doors will match, and that's going to isolate that sound that much more. And that makes for a happy me. Let's talk about what we covered the walls with.
The previous owner wrapped all the walls in beadboard. This room was the plywood version. And of course it was like a golden yellow color or something. And
we initially painted everything black because we just thought that would be really cool and vibey, but black in a basement, we kind of felt like it was a little bit oppressive.
Didn't turn out like I wanted to.
No.
Beadboard is something I'm used to maybe seeing in a kitchen or something, and it's not very inspiring for music to me. One solution was to take it down and put up drywall. So she, as normal,
I found a solution.
Had the better idea.
Well, there's a product called Yucca Board, and it is a paintable smooth surface, and it comes in 4x8 sheet panels. You do need to scuff and prime it before you paint it, but it creates virtually a smooth finish. It's only 1/8 of an inch thick. That's what is behind us.
Yeah.
So, and we have 1 coat of paint on there. As you can see, we're going with a white color, and it is beautiful. The color is Paper Doll by Benjamin Moore.
Yes, a completely opposite color. I mean, the two extremes. It was like, yes, black, that's going to be the color. And now it's, oh, white, it's the way to go.
We're going to keep some of the black elements. Like we painted the doors black and the trim black. So we'll continue that theme. And then in the other room, we may actually keep a black wall or 2 just to kind of allow everything to flow, and also just to save on that much more work that we have to do. Just anything to make it easier and quick and economical, right? Personally, one thing that I absolutely have hated since day one is the carpet. It is brown with flecks of gray and black and beige, and so we found some flooring at the Home Depot for 81 cents a square foot. It's made by Traffic Master, and it is a floating floor, and it can be installed over concrete with a vapor barrier and an underlayment. It's called Lakeshore Pecan. This is the first room that we're kind of winging. We kind of don't know what we're doing yet. Usually I go into design with a plan in place, and this one we're kind of allowing the room to tell us.
Room whispers. It's been really quiet too. This has not said much.
We do have plans with some wood accent walls. What that's going to be, we haven't quite decided yet. So we hope that you follow along with us on the journey, but we wanted to at least kind of share with you where we started, where we're at in the journey. We thought this would be a great introduction to maybe help you find a way to create that space in your home but still have it look cool and aesthetically pleasing. Be sure to check back in, and we'll be sharing the reveal here hopefully very soon. Also wanted to give a shout out to Trent's channel. You can go and subscribe
a Noted
to
Grace
him.
shout out.
I know.
Wonder
So
how
tell
much
him
I'm
about your...
gonna have to pay for that.
A lot.
The name of my music company is Time Foundry, and I do have a YouTube channel where I have posted some drum videos. The ones up there now are in the previous room, so pretty soon, as this room gets finished, you'll get to see it live and in person.
Well, it's also a great channel for any budding drummer.
I hope to encourage others to keep playing even when they get discouraged. You can find your place and play your style, and you don't have to be the best in the world, just play well.
He wants to teach a doable, groovable approach to drumming. So you definitely want to head over to his channel, hit the subscribe button, and then if you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure to hit that below and give us a thumbs up. Also, ask us some questions. We would love to hear some feedback. We would also be willing to do a Q&A, kind of a how we have evolved as DIYers. So if you have any questions like that, you can either shoot us an email, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, as well as our blog. And we would be happy to answer any of those questions as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
What?
Go ahead.
Economical?
Economical.
Economical. I had this itch on my wrist. I was trying not to move.
You're cute.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
This is not till...
Okay,
Hold on, no. Just let me do it. Stop jumping in. Cut.